welcome to the stage, my best friend in comedy, Mike Cannon!
What's up, everybody? How we doing? Oh, my God. I appreciate it. This is amazing. How about Chris qualifying our friendship? Left and right. Best friend in comedy. Want to make sure everybody knows, outside of the business, I am close to several people. It's just within this business, he's a number one. I appreciate that. But you guys, thank you so much for coming out. Genuinely, yeah, it's amazing. Most of all, I appreciate that you came together as a group. I mean that. If this was one-on-one, it would be a fucking nightmare. For me, specifically, I don't do well in those situations. I get dominated socially. In almost every situation. I do. I'm the guy at your party that gets cornered by the worst guy at every party. Like, if you have a flat earther at your event, that's who I'm talking to for 6 straight hours. It's not by choice, I just have tell me your conspiracy face. Dude, see this face, this gray hair, immediately get comfy. They're like, you know, they're putting estrogen in the water supply. I'm like, that's why I'm drinking cum. You gotta match that energy. Out conspiracy the theorist. No kidding, estrogen titties? Well, time for a booster. I don't know what it is, but I get worked out there, socially. I do, I have tell me your conspiracy face. I also have feel free to moderately insult me to my face. I don't know what it is. I'm friendly, I smile a lot, I'm a good listener. People see that and they're like, I'm gonna hurt this guy's feelings. And it's never a clear, over-the-line insult. You know what I mean? It's never something that I can justifiably overreact to. It's always something in the gray area where I have to be like, just kind of take it. Like a dude recently asked me if these were my real ears. How am I supposed to proceed with that conversation? Nope, all me, champ. Yeah, I'll victim blame. I fucked up. It was my fault. I went out this year for New Year's Eve, which I don't typically do, you know? I don't drink anymore, so I was already uncomfortable. I was on an edible, so I was at my most vulnerable. I was more auditing conversations than participating. You ever do that high? You know, you just like kind of give a thumbs up. Every now and again, I'd get some confidence to join, but kind of pump fake involvement. I'd be like, what'd you guys say? No. That's what I think is fun. And that's what I was doing. Apparently that was unacceptable to one guy who thought, you know, he needed to pull me in by force and by insult. Immediately was like, what's up, man? Are those your real ears? I'm just like, just laughed like a true cuck. I thought he was funny. I thought he was kidding. I thought it was a joke. I told one of my buddies, he's like, oh man, why do you think he said that? Because they're smaller? Because they look pinned back. And I was like, what? Did you just confirm the insult? First time in my life I'm hearing it, then back to back I'm told I have a pair of unfindable clit-sized ears? And that's the confidence I'm taking into Jan 1? Sick seat, buddy. Hell yeah, good for you. I hope you took your Zyrtec. I don't know what it is about me specifically, though, you know? Like, I got this gray hair, which I never thought was all that interesting. Never talked about it on stage, never brought it up. Turns out, from just my daily interactions, it's the only interesting thing about me. It's one of the last physical attributes that you could be the owner of where people feel very comfortable both pointing it out and mocking it directly to your face. Which is fun, because here's the thing. Friends, family, anybody who knows me, tear me apart, say whatever you want. But if I'm meeting you for the first time and you're pointing out my gray hair, that's a fucking leap in friendship. It happens all the time. I'm like, oh, what's up, man? Nice to meet you, I'm Mike. They're like, yo. Your shit is gray, dude. Your shit is gray. You're 39 years old? You're only 39, your whole shit is gray. I'm like, yeah, you're super fat. What are we doing here? Is that what this is? We're just pointing out each other's physical insecurities? Yeah, I'm gray and your midsection is a disaster. Why don't you slide on some compression socks and limp your way to the Peloton? I'm sorry, I'm a comedian. Don't throw stones if you live in a fat house. All right. I've been accused of dyeing my hair gray. People are apparently doing that. Young people are dyeing their hair gray to make it seem like they've lived a life. Why would I dye my hair gray? To steal valor from the almost dead? It's insane. I thought it was because I live in New York. It's a confrontational city. People say crazy shit to your face, depending on what you're wearing or what you look like. But it turns out it's fucking nationwide. I was in Seattle this past September. Beautiful, walking around, enjoying the weather of that sweet, progressive little city. And out of nowhere, I get heckled. It's not the show, it's the daytime. Walking around the city, I get heckled by this purple-haired weeble wobble. Isn't it amazing? I didn't even say a gender, but we're all picturing the exact same person. And don't forget, I'm the victim. I didn't do shit. I'm just walking around out of nowhere. This fucking bowling pin with purple hair screams out, is like, oh my God, your hair, it's gray. Your hair's gray. Who dyes it? Who dyes it gray for you? I'm like, what? This is Stress by L'Oreal. And they're like, no, I have to know. People come into my salon every day and they pay hundreds of dollars to both get that color and that pattern. And I'm like, oh, well, that's weird, because all I had to do was take my parents' divorce really bad. It's like, no, I don't dye my hair gray. I'm in show business. Why would I intentionally age myself out of opportunities? So what, the only part I can play now is just coked up dad on Euphoria?